All right, here's the deal. Every American home is getting a flood risk score, and many are at a higher risk than previously known.
Even though we never experience floods here in Southern California. We're right below foothills, so flash floods happen when it rains a lot. So fires, right? You get fires, and then
So
there's
here's
no brush to hold it. So, but I'm gonna get a flood score.
let me get to the article, and then I'm going to get to I got a severe rub with this one.
I'm already offended, and Ray hasn't even started the story.
I got a severe rub. All right. So did your home move closer to water? No. Well, water moved closer to your home. Now every American is going to get a flood risk score on the heels of double hurricanes, which became much like those all cash buyer phone calls that we get from Zillow, who are a lot of promise and then peter out quickly.
Yeah.
So too did the hurricanes. And it is hurricanes. It's not hurricanes.
Right. It's hurricane.
Hurricanes.
Just like it's cancer.
So now every homeowner and potential home buyer in America will be able to see a new forward-looking analysis. What? Forward-looking analysis of a property's flood risk. That could have a huge impact on the national housing market. So I'm just going to quote somewhat from this controversial article from CNBC. It says, First Street Foundation launched an interactive website offering flood risk data on more than 142 million homes and properties across the country in June. Now, Realtor.com, one of the nation's largest home listing sites, licensing the Realtor trademark from the National Association of Realtors Trade Organization, that was inserted, not quoted, will put those scores on all of the listings. First Street is working with more than 80 scientists and researchers and is revamping America's flood risk in an effort to educate owners and home buyers and the greater real estate industry. It assigns a flood score to every property. Quote, we're basically building flood models that calculate the past, present, and future flood risk for every home in the country, said Matthew Ebby, founder and executive director of First Street Foundation. By integrating a flood factor into Realtor.com's platform, we will not only reach millions on a daily basis, but will do so when they need it most, when they're buying or selling a home.
And then it shows a picture of a house that's been overly flooded to scare people. Like,
this is exactly why. All right, so here's the deal.
Wait. Before you go, see where that red thing is? That's Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yep.
There's not a lot of water.
Not a lot. I mean, we got some lakes, right?
Yeah. He's not really. And by the way, I'm zoomed out pretty far because you can see Oklahoma, you can see Missouri, Kansas City, Mississippi, Louisiana, which is close.
And we got a ton of hills too. If my house floods,
right,
like you're gonna see animals lining up 2 by 2. Lisa Perk said every house is in the flood zone. We have a river that floods. We do have a river that floods. Yep. So Ryan Bokros hit the nail on the head. This is exactly where I'm going. It's Real Estate Minority Report. And my comparison was going to be, are we going to have crime maps that show the future rate of crime based on the past rate of crime?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So weathermen are notoriously difficult for actually predicting the weather that's going to happen today. It's going to be very difficult for them to predict floods where they're going to happen just based on how much water they could have. We all saw what happened with the 2 hurricanes, and this article was written right before it, where they were predicting massive flooding. It wasn't.
Ray was supposed to die.
What? Oh yeah. Little Rock was supposed to get hit so hard that everything was supposed to flood here.
And you got a sprinkle or a drizzle.
We barely got some rain that day. So my problem with this is that it is not based on the past. So the flood maps that are in the 500-year floodplains, 1,000-year floodplains, all that stuff that the government produces is based on flooding history, not flooding future.
Right.
This flood data is projections from climate scientists based on climate change, which we know how accurate they've been. I think, what is it, like last year or 2 years ago that the world was supposed to end, according to Al Gore? So I've got some
the
major
Mayan calendar got it wrong too. 2012.
Who did?
The Mayan calendar.
Calendar also wrong. Lisa Perk said it's based on climate change. Yes, it is based on climate change. 80 climate change scientists that have been predicting where it's going to flood. So yes, I have a major issue with this because how many of those climate change scientists actually believe differently? Probably none. And so they're using consensus science to do a future prediction and basically scare people. And
that's where I was going with this. So let's say, because I'm always the, I like to see both sides of this. So let's say that there is some factual data behind an unbiased report on future floods. How do you scare people nationally? By the way, so if you want to see where I'm at, there's my dot.
Yeah.
See above the dropped pin?
You're going to die.
But you see that green stretch of, those are mountains. You see that, right?
Yeah, but look at all the blue on the map. You're clearly in a floodplain.
Right. Like, okay, let's just say there's
Melissa Mars says my place is a hair just outside the flood zone. Well, not anymore, kid. Now you got a flood score.
And also, she sent us a picture of a house the other day. It was literally on like a foot. It's a foot above, and that survived Sandy. The house was built before Sandy, and it's still there. So I get it. I understand. Let's be careful about stuff. But what's behind this? There's a dude behind this going, national flood scores for everyone. Who's going to benefit? Well, I mean, my company will. But I'm just saying that I have all these scientists that happen to agree with me for the benefit of my company are saying that your house is going to flood in the future if you live in Missouri. What?
Melissa Mars says, I have to look at the maps in the article more, but something just doesn't look right after breezing by it. Yeah. Patrick Ellis of Ellis Home Inspection said, maybe they can give me some lottery number predictions. Lisa Burke said, beachfront, baby. Yeah, which beach, though? Because one beach is growing, supposedly. I think over by Melissa, that beach is supposed to be growing, right? And the one in California is supposed to be shrinking.
Well, we're all beachfront
is it
now.
The other way? Is it the other way? I'm confused.
Everyone's beachfront.
Lisa Perk said, I'm in flood zone X, but FEMA has already given every property a flood zone.
Right. So if you're in a legit flood area, historically, where it floods, and that's what I want to say is about, I get it. Like if you've had historically bad floods, where Clayton is, and he's dealt with it so many times, and Ryan right there where he's had to deal with it. Yeah, sure. I've never had a flood. Okay, so wait, hold on. I've only lived in Southern California for almost 47 years, though.
Well, you also haven't been into the future yet, Dan.
I have not been into the future, but I have seen streets flooded, and I've seen things. By the way, I thought quickly, I think Ray, I don't know where Ray shared it, but he has showed us. Do you have like a big throughway, like a big floodway or flood zone? Not a flood zone, but like you've shown us a river before, and it was crazy. Yeah. It wasn't overflowing though, and it was insane, but still didn't overflow.
Right. Yeah.
So
Ryan said we're about to build in a Z zone or in a V zone. And then he says hashtag island life. Lisa Burke said, well, X is no flood insurance required, but you can buy it if you want. Clayton said Dan's house floods all the time with love. Aww.
That's very
so yeah, I totally agree with where you're taking this. The problem is even if you believe in all the climate change variables and global warming or whatever it is now, I can't remember. Even if you believe in all that stuff,
climate warming,
global warming, change, cooling,
global change.
Even if you believe in global change, the issue with having a futuristic prediction of floods affecting the real estate market based on what somebody might believe could happen. I mean, I think we've all seen
could happen
on Discovery Channel, like when they do those special reports, like what if Little Rock were to flood, and it's got all this cool futuristic stuff. Yeah. It's really cool to see what could happen at the end of the world, but it's not valid information that should impact the value or sellability of a property.
Right.
And I think realtor.com should actually reverse course on this. And all of you who don't say anything, whenever your buyer says, well, I'm not buying that house because of the flood, look at this flood future prediction, then you cannot complain at that moment because you did nothing to pursue realtor.com and get this crap off there.
Yeah. And by the way, I think there is some concerns about the future of our planet. I do. I've thought that since it hit me about 16 years old. I think there are some concerns. There's just trash everywhere. Like we make a lot of trash. We make a lot of waste. Like I've always thought these things.
Right.
And whatever, let's just for the sake of the story, I 100% believe global change, whatever we're calling it, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
real. Would I believe anyone, if I'm speaking to you right now, if you're hearing my voice, if you 1000% believe in global warming change over the course of climate warming, whatever it's called, do you think every house in the nation should be given a flood score, not a excessive heat warning score, not a tornado score, not a hurricane score, not a, you say hurricane, right? Yeah. Not any of those natural disaster scores, but a flood score. Every house in the nation, every one of them.
Lisa Perk is correct when she said ancient aliens predicted this, but hey, plot twist, we are the aliens. What? All right, Melissa Marr said, does the house have to be raised? That's my favorite question to get. So now that brings up a good point, because I don't know what data they're going to use. Are they going to use the elevation certificates of every house? Because you could have a house on stilts right on the coast, and yet it has a flood score of like underwater. And then suddenly they realize that, oh, that house has been on stilts for years. And there's no, you know what I'm talking about? Like the homes on tall piers.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about Mortgage Demand.
Let's do it.
Bammo. Mortgage Demand from homebuyers surges. Let me see if I can make this wider. Hang on. What's going on? That did not work. Let's try again. All right.
It goes wider, but it doesn't.
It's a little bit better. Okay, so we have a surprising surge of mortgage demand. Well, school has started and the real estate season is over, right? No, not at all, actually. Mortgage applications rose again last week to 3% higher than the previous week and are 40% higher than a year ago. 40% higher than a year ago. That's a lot of percents.
Wow.
So you might say, surely it's just refis. Nope. Let me read this again. Mortgage applications to purchase were up 40% over last year. Refis were also up 3%, making them 60% higher than a year ago. So your favorite lender is going to be on an amazing vacation soon. I mean, how could they not with numbers like this? Well, so let's look at the quote from Joel Kahn, who's the MBA economist. He says, there continues to be resiliency in the purchase market. The average loan size continued to increase, hitting a survey high of 368,600, highlighting the strong overall demand for buying a home. Conventional VA and FHA purchase applications all increased last week. So mortgage applications to purchase are definitely on the rise.
So what does that tell you guys? Yeah, this is a good comment.
Greg says, hey, my bald bros from Baltimore. Do we need to not say be more anymore? I don't know what to say.
I don't know, but I don't think I'm bald.
Is Greg in Baltimore, or is he saying be more? Is what? Because Pete always says every time we say be more, he thinks Baltimore.
But see, he's from that area. So
Brad Daniel says /sarcasm. And Eric Edge says, hi, all from Delaware. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for checking out the show, man. You have locks.
I do. Damn. It's completely white, but I do have locks.
Locks of love. All right. So anyway, applications to purchase are way up versus last year.
Well, and what does this tell you guys? If you're reading along or listening along at home or watching along at home, what does this tell you? This tells you need to be finding buyers right now, or get your buyers agents busy, right?
Yeah. If you don't have any buyers, there's a problem. You should have lots of buyers right now.
Yeah. But also you got to think ahead. So a lot of this has been, I don't know, I've heard it a lot where it's like, no, our lender can close on your listing because we're buyer centric. We're not doing a bunch of refis right now. So my guy he's put a focus on buyers right now. So we're ready to close. It's not going to take us 35, 45 days. We're ready to close. 40% increase in application volume. All of those lenders that are focused on only, quote unquote, only on buyers, they're busy now too. So you need to plan ahead. You need to either be writing in your contract, give them an extra 5 days, or make sure they can close in the 30. Because I don't see a 21-day close happening right now. I mean, maybe. I don't.
It'd be tough. Well, the appraisers are backed up too, just because they're so busy with both the refis and the purchase applications. So that's going to be tough either way, I think.
Yeah, we have 17 days here for inspections and appraisal, and I still shorten inspections to 7 or 10 days because that's controlled by me and us. But appraisals, I don't go any lower than 14. And if a listing agent wants lower that, I could say, cool, I can do that. But I can't promise they'll be out there in the first 7 to 9 days. It's tough.